Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Cyndy McDonald, and I'm with the AICEP Commission. And today I'm talking with Deborah Davis-Groves of Austin, Texas, about her experience in becoming a CEP. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you, Cyndy. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Why was becoming a CEP important to you?
I didn't have the background in education that I think a lot of people have in the IEC business. And so when I was approached at the possibility of becoming a certified educational planner or CEP, I decided that that might add great value to me and to my business. It would legitimize me, for lack of a better way of saying it, and take me to a different level of me trying to become who I wanted to become.
I think that's a really great point for people to understand. What were your concerns when you applied to become a certified educational planner once you found out about this?
Well, so my biggest concern, I think, was the fact that the time commitment to try and study for it, right? There's that. You know, I had the colleges down, so that wasn't an issue. I had met all the other requirements, but it was just that study factor, so that was one. Two, I think the other biggest piece was that I had seen other people take the CEP test at a conference, you know, and you pay so much for a conference, and you want, you know, when I go, I want to participate in all the college tours, I want to participate in the pre-conference, or, you know, I definitely want to get as many of the sessions in as possible. And I had seen several people who had taken it at the conference, and they just looked like death warmed over. They didn't have time to participate in everything, and I thought, that was my biggest concern. It's like, I really would prefer not to take it at a conference. And if it was possible to take it in Austin, that would have been, you know, what I would have preferred.
And so how were your concerns handled by AICEP? What did they do to help you with that?
Oh, it was great because Steve Antonoff, of course, is such a great friend and mentor, right? And he had reached out to me again. He goes, Deb, let's get this done. Let's do it. And I said, Steve, is there any way that I could do this in Austin? That would just make life so much better. I think it would take the anxiety out of it a bit. In addition to, it would just make sure that the conferences that I attend, I would get the full value of those. And so Steve was great. He goes, you know what, let me check into it. And so then he was able to find someone in Austin who was a CEP and agreed to proctor my test. And that just sealed the deal. That's where I knew, okay, now I can get this done. And the other nice thing was that I could do it more on my time frame, where I knew that I had kind of a not as busy time, so I could really focus on studying.
I think that's a really valuable aspect to share, and shows that the commission is dedicated to us as consultants and making our professional opportunities as flexible as possible. So being able to go, and I know I've proctored the exam here in Central California, and I think that's really good advice, is to try and take the exam at a time other than a conference because of all the different factors that you identified. You know, you have control over the time, you have an opportunity to really fully be involved in the conference without having extra aspect of having to do the CEP exam. So what tips do you have for preparing for the CEP exam?
I would say if you can, one, do it in your home area, that would be great. We have offered it to our Austin IEC group because now there are 3 of us that are CEPs. So it's like, if we can be your proctors, and if AICEP approves it, then we're all in to try and help that. So that's one. 2, it's just obviously finding the time that is probably, I mean, as if any of us have a least busy time, but there are some times that are more of a lull, right? So there's that. And 3, I think it's just figuring out your game plan for studying, just like you used to, you know, in any of your educational backgrounds things. I had, you know, my cards that I had memorized. I had my forms that I had set up for all my college tours. It was just a matter of memorization and just really trying to, like, think about my cases that I had done working with my students. My family was thrilled when I was done, though, because I was driving them nuts with trying to get it all memorized and just kind of really have a solid basic information load in my brain. So they were thrilled when it was all over with.
So now that you've accomplished that goal, what would you say are the benefits that you've see from having completed that?
I think the greatest benefit is, one, again, it has, I think, legitimized me because I didn't come from an education background, so there's that. Two, I think it has really been a benefit because whenever we do pitches to families, right, that is one of the things that I include. I'm one of 3 CEPs in the Austin area, and I think one of 10 in the state of Texas, which means that we've gone to an extra level, that other layer of really trying to become very professional in our line of work. I think especially for my dads who are, like my doctors or my, professor, those folks, it's like that really speaks to them. And I didn't know from a standpoint of, for some reason for me, it just made a difference. It was like, I've earned this. I've worked hard for this, right? And so there was just that pride that I had that just really spoke volumes for me.
I think that's a very important aspect too, and it shows pride in the work that you do, pride in our profession, and it builds some credibility and some for the families and the communities that we serve. It elevates our profession. So, Deb, thank you so much. This has been so helpful, and we appreciate you sharing your thoughts and your experiences in becoming a CEP.
Thank you for allowing me to share my story.